Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Country legend Garth Brooks will be honored this weekend at the Kennedy Center Honors, a well-deserved award for the Recording Industry Association of America's top-selling solo artist of all time. I spoke with Brooks last year when the Library of Congress presented him with the Gershwin Prize. Mr. Brooks, can I speak with you for a second?
Yes.
Hey, Jason, nice to meet you.
Jason Garth.
All right. So I know when you first went out to Nashville, you turned around within a short amount, 24 hours or something.
Like a day.
Why was that? And what inspired you to turn back around and give it another shot?
Well, I think what I went to Nashville for was thinking it was all about music, but the truth is it's all about the business of music. I had the music thing that was in my heart and my soul, and I had the dreaming part like everybody does. When you get there, though, you better be ready to respect it as a job, a business for all these people. So you look at it kind of different when you go back.
Yeah. You changed the game. What inspired you to go against the grain, to steal a phrase, and turn these country concerts into, there were some rock elements. You were flying over the crowd, you were sprinting across the stage, but you never sacrificed the country in there too. But what inspired you to make it a damn party?
First of all, very sweet, thank you. Country music's what it's always been. And everybody kind of gives us credit for bringing what they call the rock show into country. But the truth is we stole the show from Chris Ledoux. If you know who Chris Ledoux is, look him up. He's a real bona fide cowboy world champion that could not stand still when he played. He was fun to watch, and we just kind of took everything that he was doing and just loved that man, loved what he stood for, and proud to kind of carry the flag on.
And quickly about sort of the hiatus, I know you took some time to raise the kids, you and Tricia. How important was that? And then how did you get that little itch and come back out, and dominate and break records again?
Well, it's very sweet. People said, hey, did you feel bad leaving to go there? And I said, no, you got to understand, what I left for, I loved more than music itself. And man, if you've ever been a parent, you know what that is. So watch them grow from 1998 to 2014. Never missed a day. And they were so sweet. And so they're on with their lives. We're back touring. And those three daughters are here tonight. So this is going to be very, very proud.
Grammy-winning country star Chris Stapleton also showed up to pay tribute.
It's a nice bolo tie.
Oh, you like the bolo tie?
I'll give you $1 for it.
It's my wife's, actually.
Okay.
You want it for $1? Yeah.
How much you take for it?
I'll take an interview. How about that?
No, you got it.
All right. Can we ask you real quick what you'll be performing tonight?
I'm doing Shameless and Rodeo.
Nice. It wasn't the Shameless was a Billy Joel
It's a Joel
cover, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Do you think Garth's is better?
That's the version I knew the song from. So that for me that it is. I don't want to. No offense to Mr. Joel at all.
Where were you when you first heard him? Was it that first much too young to feel this damn old, or where do you remember?
Heard Garth?
Yeah, when you were growing up.
I don't really remember. I was a teenager in the '90s, kind of when he took off, and so when that happened, the dance was probably the thing that really became this huge thing. I think. I don't know. That was probably the first thing I heard, but I don't remember where I was. I did scalp a ticket to a show back then one time. Sat with my back to the wall, and I never heard a word he said, but because everybody in the crowd was singing every word to every song. But he was only about this big, so I'm not sure what he was doing. Like when I was watching his show, but it was a magical thing to go to, back then. So.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a show recently, so I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, how glad are you to see him back? Because I know he took a break there, put the kids through college and everything, but how amazing is it that he can come back after such a long time off and still come out, entertainer of the year, all that stuff?
Oh, that's great for him, absolutely. Like, if you can do it, why not?
Yeah. How do you think he influenced you at all? Any of the songwriting or anything?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I was a big fan. I grew up, I was a teenager in that era when he took off, and so everybody, I knew I had every album and knew every word of every song. So
yeah, there's a lot of talk, especially in the post-Garth age, about what real country is. It used to be, let's say, twanger, and I think you do a little more of the authenticity, Tennessee whiskey kind of stuff. Where's your stance on that? Are you like a big tent kind of guy, or do you want to see it get back to more of your sound of kind of country music instead of the bro tailgate?
I want
stuff?
people to be whoever they are. That's what I want. So you do you. That's me. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I next spoke with chart-topping country star Lee Brice. How old were you? Where were you when you first heard Garth? Do you know what album it was or what?
Oh gosh, very first record. Got my very first little clock radio. I was 10 years old, and Garth Brooks came on the radio with his very first single, Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old, and I thought something about his voice and the way the song was put together just reached right out and touched me. And I always loved music and I always loved singing, but that kind of made me go, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I started writing songs like that day. That's the time of my life. And so Garth was a huge, and still is huge influence on me.
What was it about that song? Was it the worn out tape of Chris Ledoux or the highway getting longer?
You know what? I think it was something it was that thing that he has that connects with you, his voice. He's not over singing. It's nothing like that. It's just the fact that somehow it's like he's speaking to just you, you know?
Yeah. Talk about the storytelling prowess, too, because this is a songwriting award. I know he co-wrote some songs, he sung some, but do you have a certain, lyric of a song? I mean, the dance is beautiful, and there's so many great ones, but...
There really are. I'm actually get to do a song of his tonight, called What She's Doing Now, and even as I grew up, that was one of my favorites. So one day I go, I want to write the thing that wraps around, where the title wraps around like that song does, where the title means something else at the end of the chorus. And so I wrote a song called Crazy Girl, and it ended up being a song of the year, the Eli Young Band. So he has had so much influence on me through so many songs, but that's just one scenario of how it literally influenced my whole career. And so to be here is really crazy.
Did you get a chance to write a song for him too, recently?
Not recently. It was probably 10 years ago, but More Than a Memory. Yeah, I wrote a song called More Than a Memory.
I remember it well.
Yeah, and he just blew my mind. He came out and he wanted to record it, and so he did, and it was debuted at #1, did all this crazy stuff, and then I've had a couple of moments where I was out and I was able to go see him play because I was in the same town, and he got me on stage to do it with him, and so I've had a couple of magic moments with that.
Talk about how glad you are to see him back too, because he took that big hiatus to get the kids through school, and he comes back and he breaks records again, and all these stadiums sell out.
He's Superman. Whenever he puts his mind to, he does, and that's what makes him special.
I also spoke with Grammy-winning blues artist Keb Mo. Could you give us a hint of what you'll be performing in tribute tonight for him?
I'll be doing a song called The River.
Off the Rope in the Wind album, I remember the closing track. What does that song mean to you? It's got, you could read it some spiritual elements or some uplifting elements. What does it mean to you?
Well, to me, it means it's a declaration of going forward and tackling your dreams.
Yeah, do you think people can learn a lesson from that song in terms, there's so many lines about don't sit along the shoreline and just say you're satisfied. You got to choose to chance the rapids, What does it mean in terms of, inspiring? Don't take the safe route, right?
Yes, it means go get in there and take some chances and get your head knocked around a little bit.
And have you got a chance to meet him at all, in the run-up to this?
Garth?
Yeah, how well have you?
Many times, yes. He's quite a person, quite a human. He's my favorite guy. I mean, really.
Why do you say that?
He's the most grateful, gracious man I've ever met.
I next spoke with former Tonight Show host Jay Leno. How many times did Garth come on your show when you were on the Tonight Show? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't know how many times. He did my last show, and he was on very early on in my career. He was always one of my favorite guests. That's why I'm here. He asked me to come and do a little something, so plane waits, hop and run right back. But it's an honor to be here.
What did he perform on that last show? Do you remember what song it was?
I don't. I'm sorry. I don't remember what song it was. He's the only guest, though, I ever mouthed all the words to the songs.
Really? So you know him in and out, Yeah. So, do you have a favorite Garth Brooks song then? It's hard to pick.
No, it's hard. I like songs that are fun. He has serious songs and songs that are just silly and fun. Back in that era when country music was just had a sense of humor about some of the stuff, and that's what I like about his music.
So you're more of like a rodeo, two of a kind, working on a full. You like the upbeat, funny ones.
Yeah, exactly.
But he could get serious when he needed to, too.
He's really good. He's one of my all-time favorites. He's the most normal superstar I've ever known. No ego, no nonsense. Signs every autograph. I'll tell you a funny Garth Brooks story. This is the epitome of Garth Brooks. I'm going to tell this tonight, but Garth's like the most fan-oriented guy. And he's in a restaurant, and he's eating, and there's a guy watching him, and he thinks, this guy's going to come over, So Garth kind of goes, and the guy leaves. Garth finishes his meal, goes into the men's room, sits down on the john. The guy walks in, opens the stall door, and goes, I didn't want to bother you while you're eating. Could you sign this? It's my favorite Garth. It's like the greatest.
That's perfect.
Hilarious.
Finally, I spoke with Country Music Hall of Famer Ricky Skaggs. Talk about why it was such a no-brainer that Garth gets this.
I mean, we say, somebody deserves something, but I mean, he's truly an incredible artist. I mean, goodness, he's done everything that any artist could have ever imagined we'd love to do. He's done it, and he's still out selling tickets, and doing tours, and just reinvented himself to this 20-year later, 30-year later generation. I mean, it's unbelievable. And
yeah, you came up a little bit before him, but you mirrored his time. You overlapped a little bit. But talk about how he sort of just blew the doors open for country and allowed it to go mainstream. He turned those shows into rock concerts, but he kept the country elements as well.
He did. I think he knew his audience so well, and I think he knew an audience that hadn't seen him yet, and that was the audience that would go to rock concerts and see, REO Speedwagon and see Kansas and see, all the great rock groups, But he was developing that into his show, but keeping it country and having fun, running around like a madman, and people were loving it, and the record sales and the ticket sales has proven it.
Yeah. And all right, can you tell us what you're going to be performing tonight?
Well, I asked Garth when he asked me if I would do this, which is another kind of crazy thing. Of all the people in the world he could have asked to do this, I mean, great, big artist. I was asked to do this, and so I asked him what he wanted me to sing, and he said, "Call him Baton Rouge. It's perfect." And I thought, I can't argue with that. Dang, it's got a bluegrass kind of Cajun feel, so it's right down my wheelhouse. Yeah, so it's good.
That's my personal favorite of his. It's so upbeat, you know what I mean?
And it's his favorite.
Really?
Someone told me that is his favorite song that he does in the show. He doesn't want it to end. It ends in 3 minutes and he wants to keep going. I was a little surprised because when he asked me to do, a Call him Baton Rouge, he didn't write this one. But if anyone made it his own, he did, And what he did, there's a great group called the Newgrass Revival, a bluegrass group, and they recorded it first from Dennis Lindy. He's the writer, and they did it back, I don't know how many years ago, but they just did it great, and and it was a bluegrass kind of hit, thing, and then Garth heard it, and the group had kind of somewhat split up, or not. Well, some of the members had kind of split. But he wanted to get all those guys that was on that record back together and come in and record that with him for his record of it, which is so honoring, to do a song and have the cats on it that inspired you to even want to do it to begin with. But that's Garth, he's just so honoring that away. That's one of the things that Garth has really been so wise in doing. I mean, he owns his masters, which is just stinking unbelievable. It's like the Beatles. I mean, they own their masters, and probably maybe some of them they don't own. I don't know, but Garth owns all of his. And that's just unheard of even now in the days where there's not people making CDs much anymore. Everything's downloaded, but we're all out selling stuff on the road. We're all working, and Garth is a big reason why all of country music. When that ship was raised, it raised every other ship. And so yeah, it was a really great thing. As a business, he did more for country music business-wise than anyone ever has. We had this dinner last night, and he was really reverent and very grateful, very thankful for the award that's coming, and I really think this means a lot to him. I mean, it should mean a lot to anyone that's a writer, artist, but he's living that. He ain't playing it down. I mean, he really is grateful for it, and I think he knows the unanimousness of it. And it's huge. We were in a room full of politicians last night at the dinner to honor Garth, and everybody wanted to meet Garth. Everybody wanted to be with him. Everybody wanted to get a picture, and music is just a great calming leveler. It levels the playing field for everybody. I mean, you can here was Democrat, Republican, Independent in the room, and nobody was making no blows about anything. But the music and art of it, art of the music is something. I think it just levels the playing ground for everybody, and it's a calming force, and thank God we have it.
Talk about also, if you have a second, how groundbreaking and gutsy it was for him to do a song like, We Shall Be Free or The Thunder Rolls. Like, he took on social things, too, that you wouldn't necessarily expect at the time.
Yeah, he has, and, that's been popular in a lot of maybe more rock and, rock progressive pop people. but Garth felt like it was time to do something like that, and for his fans, and I think it was a message that everybody needed to hear.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, and we're still country boys at heart, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.